Hive Mind, we have a very special guest on here, Diontay Chantel.
Yes, hi everybody.
Woo! I feel like I've known you for 100 years, and now we just about to have our very first conversation. I've really been admiring you from afar. I've been seeing that you're into development. You're strong in your faith, so I appreciate that. It's something I'm proud of to talk about publicly. And no, just all around a good person, a good soul, good vibes, good energy. So I'm really excited to have this conversation. I feel like it's long overdue. I don't know how it took us this long, but yeah, really looking forward to today's talk.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Hey Daniel, I don't see your face, but hello.
He's a background engineer like the Wizard of Oz.
Nice to see you. But no, we met, I believe, on Clubhouse.
Yes, yeah. You know, some of the best connections I have in my life today, we found on Clubhouse, and we still maintain those relationships.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. I love what you're doing in the real estate world, social media world. So kudos to you guys for creating your own just amazing community
Thank
overall.
you. And thank you for being a part of it. Right? You've been here since the very beginning. And it means a lot to us when somebody comes around and they take a look at what we're doing and then they just stay forever. We're like, so yeah, these are our best friends. All my best friends I've met through business. Like the friends I went to school with, like we're still friends, but I never see them like once a year. But I see and talk to my business friends every day, all day. So like we really hold these relationships close to our heart, and we appreciate you. So let's go. Let's get into that. I have a feeling this is going to be a good one. I think we're going to talk about real estate and development and God and politics. So these are all my favorite topics all rolled into one. So we don't ever have like an outline for these. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. So let's get right into it. So if you could give us like just like a 10-second background on yourself. Usually people spend 20 minutes on this portion of it, but let us know where you came from and what you're up to now, where are you at geographically, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing in business.
Yes. So hello, America. I'm Diontay Chantel. I am a real estate developer. I'm a woman of God. Well, I'm a woman of God first.
Yay.
And I'm a real estate developer.
Love that.
But I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. Shout out to Brooklyn. I grew
Damn.
up.
Little ways from Texas.
Yeah, good ways. But I have family. I have some roots in Texas. But I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. I started out as an investor, wholesaler, and developer in Newark, New Jersey. They gave me my shot as they made me a designated developer in my city and also in the city of East Orange.
What is a designated developer?
So that means they literally partner with you and they decide to sell you blight land and properties so you can redevelop for affordable housing and or market rate housing. So it was a very competitive process and I was selected. And this
Beautiful. Congrats.
thanks. Yeah, this started back in 2019. It took a while to close on the land, but we got it done. They gave me my first shot. We purchased land for $10,000. That was worth about 100 and at the time 120K. Um, and we got it for 10,000. So a win is a win.
Damn.
Yep.
And so now what do you do? So they help you, or they sign you up to be a developer now. You got this amazing deal on some land. Now, do they walk you through the process, or what happens next?
No. So in order for you to even qualify and be designated, you have to prove yourself. You have to actually show them that you are a developer or you have experience. So one thing about me, I'm never going to say, oh, I'm never operating from a lack mindset or a scarcity mindset. So I said, what do I need to get to get to the next level, right? So I put a team together around me. I was able to leverage other people's experience, their money, the whole nine, and we packaged myself on paper as a developer, and the rest is history. We just won we actually won a building with the city of Newark recently. My nonprofit, Journey to Developer. We just got the contract.
You won a building?
A building, yes.
What does that mean you won one?
So they had a RFP, which is a request for proposal. And it's not a lottery, but you put in proposal, like many different investors and developers throughout the state or the country put in a proposal with the city of Newark. And you had to collaborate with another nonprofit, a developer, a builder, whatever the case may be. In this case, I partnered with another nonprofit and a developer, and we're going to be building supportive housing and transitional housing for kids that are aging out of foster care. So it's going to be a really passionate project. We're going to be giving back. We're going to make sure we're going to have available 100% affordable housing, by the way, but available units for kids that are being aged out of foster care. Typically, they're likely to be homeless or end up in jail. So we're going to help them get a fresh start. I plan on bringing, along with the other nonprofit, a financial literacy component to help foster them to get ready for society, right? Understand money, understand investing, understand just life. So I'm excited about it.
Man, I love that. I love that whole vision. So I'll tell you, we have a vision too for Hive Mind. This is probably like version 10.0, but we want to buy abandoned office buildings and start working them for public housing, mothers that might want to have an abortion, stuff like that. Like just free housing while we can figure this shit out. Like if that's your only solution, like stay here. Let's get this figured out. Let's try to teach you real estate, get a job, something, but at least like a temporary timeout to like, hey, there's other solutions, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing that and buying those buildings. There's man, I'm gonna mess it up, but there's a company here. It's based out of San Antonio, and that's what they have. They have foster kids, and even after they age out, they still can help them with housing. They can still help them with like finding jobs. So I'm due to go walk their site. I was supposed to go this month, but I got super busy. And I'm gonna go walk the site, see what they're up to, and I'm gonna help them start fundraising and see if I can put some business opportunities together for them to start taking some action now. But yeah, but we want to buy abandoned office buildings and repurpose for public housing for something very similar. So I would love to continue that conversation for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. And follow up tomorrow, okay?
Part two.
Get out on the internet.
Yeah, because I think like no matter what you're doing, we're all going to make money. If you're in real estate, like even if you don't make money year one, if you don't make money year 5, by the time 10 or 15 year rolls around, you're going to be doing pretty damn good. And then what are you going to do? Buy a bigger yacht, buy a bigger car, right? No, I want to dump I want to die broke. I already told the kids they're not getting an inheritance at all, so they need to sprint to the day before I die. But I'm going to spend every last penny I have doing projects like the one you just talked about. Yeah.
That's amazing. And there's so many grants out there. So tap into the grants for your state. You and I talked about a project too. I don't even know if that project is still available, but we spoke about a project, and I didn't get a chance to move on it because I was like, if there's no grants, I don't even want to look at it, right? So there are typically grants for affordable and workforce housing and supportive housing out there. So for the state of Texas, I would encourage you to do a deep dive on or looking for grants. So
Look, let's put a deal together. If you can help me apply for the grants, I got access to private capital. So if you can help me do a little bit of digging, see how we can dig up some money, and let's say we got to bring 20% to the table, I can raise that capital. But if you can help me piece something together, we'll JV something 50-50 right away.
Okay. Listen, that sounds like a deal. Now, do you still have that deal in San Antonio?
I sure do. We got down 2 miles of clay already. So we're roughing in the roads. We got 3 miles of trees cleared. So that deal's going down. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk for sure.
Awesome. So if you want to talk a little bit about kind of where did you start in real estate? How did you get, or why did you get into development? And then what's next for you?
Yeah. So initially I started as a realtor. So I was a luxury sales agent back in 2011, a couple of months out of undergrad. I had a sales background with like AT&T or something. One of my friends that I used to model with, she winded up in real estate. She's like, listen, you hate your job. Just come on and be a realtor. You're cute.
You were like a runway model or what?
Yeah. So I was doing runway and print. So yeah. And I don't know if you saw, but I'm doing it again. Don't ask.
I could see you. I like, that's perfect fit for you.
Thank you.
I didn't know you did that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm 5'11", tall, but now I'm more curvier. So I'm doing curve modeling. That's like the plus size models. I just was walking in Fashion Week.
Damn. Okay, look at you. Yeah.
By the grace of God, I had the opportunity to walk in Fashion Week. And with that being said, I got into real estate as an agent. I wasn't really making a lot of money my first year. Always wanted to be a lawyer. That was the actual goal, to be a lawyer. And what I wound up doing was getting hired as a real estate paralegal. So I became a real estate and a trust and estates paralegal for like 5 years.
Damn, that's
And
a good background to get into real estate.
and in that role, I was able to see like all of the commissions people were making, the money that the investors were making, the properties that were being pushed through probate, like just craziness, right?
Yeah, so you've seen everything. You've seen every problem that could possibly come up in real estate. That's beautiful.
Trying to, liquidate their assets for Medicaid, like all kind of nursing home patients, all kind of stuff happening. And I was like, you know what? This is what I really want to get back into. So make a long story short, I fell in love with HGTV. I went to one of those seminars that you hear on the radio. Started in real estate with no money. I literally had no money. Around that time, that was like 2013, the city of Newark was selling land for $1,000. I was so broke, I didn't have $1,000. I was sleeping on an airbed with my daughter's father. Well, he wasn't even my daughter's father at the time. He was my boyfriend at the time. Make a long story short, we had these really big dreams, and we knew we lived in a gold mine. Newark, New Jersey was, for one of the top deadliest cities in America. So it was like a war zone at the time, and we had tons of abandoned properties, tons of real estate. And I was like, I saw what happened in Brooklyn. I know this is going to happen in Newark. Okay, so fast forward 2024, we're now building and selling $900 to $1 million homes in Newark, in the hood, the same number blocks.
Dang, and it just gentrified later on?
It's still a little hood to me, but but yes, it's becoming gentrified. But what's happening is the proximity to New York. The New Yorkers can't afford New York anymore, so they're flooding into New Jersey. We're only about 25 minutes away from Midtown. So they're moving in. They can't afford to live here, and that's what's happening. So how did I get into development? When I was trying to buy those lots for $1,000, I just had this epiphany that I wanted to build homes, and specifically it was container homes. And I didn't even know it was called real estate development at the time. I just knew I wanted to build homes. I knew I wanted to make Newark, New Jersey a better place. And my very first cash buyer, I mean, I literally met him out of thin air on Facebook. He really he just fell in love with who I was as a person. He saw that I was a single mother, because now years has passed. So like 2016, I meet him. He sees I'm a single mother of a 2-year-old, and I was hungry. Okay. So we close a deal together, and he's like, you need to do this. You need to do this. Next thing I know, we're having a meeting with him. He's like, you need to go sign up for a real estate development program. I'm like, I always wanted to be a real estate developer. And he kind of just introduced me to some of the top attorneys and business consultants in the country. These are the same individuals that started land banks throughout America. So they helped Detroit start their land bank. They helped Kansas City start their land bank.
Like, what do you mean? Like, help like the state? Like, they have a state department that does land banking?
So the city, we'll say Kansas City, or we'll say Detroit. They had so many blight properties, and blight properties are like abandoned homes that are just a detriment to the community, right? That the cities didn't know what to do with it. So they would foreclose on the original owners, and then they would just hold these assets. And now they needed investors and developers to go ahead and invest their capital to rehab or redevelop these projects. So that took a lot of paperwork. It's also a nonprofit. So this particular attorney had a title company. He helped them structure a actual land bank in the city of Detroit, in Kansas City, even in Newark. Newark didn't even know what a land bank was until he came. And that's when I was around in 2019. We kind of brought the idea to them. And then later they made a actual land bank program for investors and homeowners like us, where we can go and buy these abandoned properties and land for really cheap. Literally, you're getting it 90% off in most cases. That's why I was able to buy, land for $10,000 and things of that nature. So these guys really just was like, you're a developer. And I'm like, okay.
Against your own will, no?
And they literally had this whole vision for me. You're gonna be having a podcast. We're going to start a real estate fund. Like, and I'm still working on some of the things. I was a very shy person at the time. So me on a podcast, please. Me,
Dang. Okay. I wouldn't see you like that. I see you like as an extrovert, big time.
no, I'm very introverted still, believe it or not. Me starting a fund, begging people, not begging, but asking people for money or convincing
Yeah.
people to invest in my projects, I would have never done it. So they had this big vision for me, and we're, like I said, we're still working through the vision. I'm no longer working with them, but I'm still doing what I said I promised myself I was going to do. Um, so making a long story short, they make me a developer on paper. They write my proposals for me. I put the team together. We go through the process. We get the land. I had properties at the time. I wound up losing everything during not even COVID. It was the year after 2020.
How did what happened? Just COVID
So
happened.
it wasn't really COVID. It was my team, my construction team. So
Hmm.
I wind up, you know, getting engaged to my builder. I know that's a good laugh, right? And shout out to him. He's not a bad person, but when you mix business and pleasure, sometimes it doesn't work out.
I
And
wouldn't know anything about that. I never came across it in 43 years. Not that I can think of.
it didn't work out. Not a bad person. It just didn't work out. The structure wasn't there. We didn't have the capacity. And I thank God that that happened before I decided to build on the land that I purchased from the city, because it would have been a whole poop show, literally. Um,
Yeah.
so any assets we had together, we sold it. Any debt we had, I paid it because he didn't pay it. He just left. So I had to start at zero. And I had the only thing I had left was the land, and he didn't have. It wasn't in his name. It was only in my name. Thank God. So at the time, I had 3 lots from Newark with all this equity in it, and then I had 2 lots from East Orange, New Jersey, with a bunch of equity in it as well. And I said, God, literally, I fell into a depression, um, borderline suicidal. That's how gone
Shoot.
I was
Yeah.
really like, how is this happening to me?
I'll tell you what, if you have not hit that point as a real estate investor, you haven't done enough deals yet. Because I've hit 3 or 4 or 5 times where I'm like having chest pains. I'm like, real estate killed me. I'm dead.
High blood pressure, chest pains. You don't want to live. Like, it's craziness. Okay.
I've hit rock bottom so many times, even before getting into real estate, even coming from a construction background. Like
Yeah.
some days I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Like my life is over again for like the 32nd time. So yeah, now I think we're stabilized now. But yeah, if you have not hit rock bottom in real estate, you just haven't been doing it long enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
You're
didn't
not
know what
alone.
hit me. I didn't know what hit me. I just got hit by a truck. So, this is where faith came in at. Um, this is where God just started showing me, hold on. Like, he started showing me dreams and visions. And before we even got to that point, he was showing me the bad stuff about the man that I had to get rid of. So it was like, once you get rid of this man, then I can help you. And I got rid of the man. I called off the wedding. Like I said, I sold everything. And then God was like showing me literally through dreams and visions what he had in store for me. And that was my faith card. I had to believe what I saw and believe what God said about me. And the rest is history. And this is where, again, the spiritual side comes in at. One day, one of my architect in particular, he didn't really know I was a believer until me and the guy broke up. I actually met him through the ex, right? And I don't remember what the conversation was, but he was just like, I have to help you. He was like, I'm going to do your plans for free.
Dang.
When you get it figured out, you're going to pay me back. He was like, I never made it this far. He said he went through the same process I went through with the city in Newark. He
Hmm.
never made it that far. And he was like, you being a woman of God, I have to see you make it this far. Okay.
Wow. And he's
So,
like, you have something like you're halfway there already. I'm going to help you fulfill it.
right. So I'm like, okay. So he's like, come, like he was just he took a liking to me. And I didn't know the projects he was working on. So come to find out, he was working with a rapper. I don't really want to put the name out there, but
Not
name is
necessary.
Queen Latifah, right? He was working with
Dang, okay,
Queen
cool.
Latifah the whole time, and he was working with me. And he's like, you should be at this groundbreaking. They're about to build an 80-unit affordable housing project. You need to be there. And I felt so low, I couldn't even go. I was like, I
Ooh.
don't even deserve to be there. I'm not going, right? So I wound up looking at everything online. And while I was looking at the pictures, Holy Spirit said, contact the builder. And I'm like, am I crazy? Because I thought I just heard God speak to me. And I reached out to the builder and I'm like, listen, I got this deal. This is the amount of equity that's in this project. I want you to buy into the project. I want you to partner with me, yada, 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 yada. Make a long story short, they agreed. They agreed to partner with me and fund the project, $2.5 million.
And this is when you're at your lowest.
This is when you're at your lowest. This is when you hear God. This is when you
Mm-hmm.
have to trust that you heard God. And you have to put yourself out there. Because one thing about God, if it's God's will, it's his bill. Okay.
Woo! Let me write this down.
Like he's not gonna tell you to do something that he's not going to back. So I had to literally stand on it. And the crazy part is when we did the first part of the transaction, I was so broke that the bank account, the business bank account that I had opened for that LLC, the bank closed it because there was no money in it.
Hey, been there now.
There was no money in the bank account. The man done wired six figures to that checking account, and
And it was closed.
it was closed. The Federal Reserve was like, fine. So they sent the money to the federal. Like it was a crazy ordeal.
How'd you get it back? Did you have to like make phone calls and wait on hold for days?
Phone calls, wait a couple of days.
Damn.
We had to get a whole new bank account. Well, I had another bank account anyway. It was just crazy. But I was just like, wow, look at God though. He came through in the 11th hour. Okay.
Oh my God, I love that story so much. I can tell you 10 of those right now, but I'm gonna
Right.
let you finish. Nah.
And by the grace of God, he built all of the houses quickly in a whole year.
How many houses?
It was like 5 houses. Yep.
Damn. Been only 1 year?
Less than that. It was like 10 months. I was literally in the middle. I was traveling a lot that year. I went to Israel and
Man, that's beautiful.
he was just building houses like nothing was mattering, right? But it was it was a blessing because to be honest, if God wouldn't have gave me the courage or even told me to reach out to this builder, I would have never thought he would have worked on a small project like mine in my mind because he was literally doing buildings. So I'm like, these are just houses, but he did it, and now we have like a partnership and a working relationship. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about how God blessed me and how I went from zero to developer. Even when I thought I had it all figured out, I still had to start over. But it's okay.
Oh, I love that story. And I think that's a perfect segue right there. I'll tell you, probably last year sometime we bought just enough properties and we hit enough spots where cash wasn't coming in, like because we had so many things open all at once. And I started just praying and praying and praying and praying in the middle of the night. I was just saying the Hail Mary over and over and over and over again. It was like probably 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And the Virgin Mary just said, "Hey, go to California and go meet this moneylender that had been trying to make a relationship with us." And I'm like, "All right, I'm not gonna say no." And I felt ultimate peace, like immediate peace from like unsleep, like not being able to sleep, like just like speeding heart rate to just instant peace, like in 10 seconds, right? So I wake up, I call the guy, I said, "Hey, can you meet us this weekend?" He said, "Yeah, I'm free Sunday." Boom, bought a plane ticket that morning, met him Sunday. Bam, the guy's raised like $5 million for us or $6 million for us. So when you listen to God and you have that clear line of communication, right? Because there's a few things that'll like separate that line of communication between you and God. But if you keep that line of communication open, things like that happen where you get that insight, like, "Hey, just do this." And what you perceive as a massive problem for God is like, "I got that. Don't worry about it." So I've lived it and I've experienced it so many times in my life, and I get excited. I go post on Facebook like, "Man, prayer works." So yeah, that's so cool. It's such a cool story. So why don't we talk about that? Like I said, let's get into some non-talkables, right? So yeah, did you grow up in the church, or like did somebody raise you like that, or how did this relationship with God that you have come about?
Well, I was actually born. My father was Catholic, My
I'm
mother,
Catholic, still practicing. Just FYI.
yeah, my mother, I guess she was Baptist. I don't know. But I was actually baptized or Christian as a baby, as a Catholic. My
Mhm.
father didn't raise me at all. Fun fact, he was actually a real estate investor the whole time. Didn't teach me
It's
anything.
in your DNA.
It's in my DNA. He's an immigrant from Jamaica, just a hustler. That's where I get it from. My mother's a hustler from Brooklyn. Like grew up with hustlers, okay?
Yeah.
Um, and growing up, my grandmother would take me to church. I find out later, years later, that she had an aunt or great aunt that was like a whole prophet. I didn't know anything until recently, actually. So, make a
Dang.
long story short, I would go to church with my grandmother in the Baptist church. It was crazy. People was falling out. It was a lot of stuff going on. I'm like, I
I
ain't
heard a little bit. I heard a couple of rumors about those Baptists.
listen. I was looking like, I ain't never gonna do this crazy stuff, right? But I always knew that Jesus was my Lord and Savior from a young age. At 15, doctors tried to diagnose me with leukemia, which is cancer.
Whoa.
Mother, at the same time, was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Um, I saw how God, he just made sure I was healed. Like I never even had to go through a situation with cancer. And I also remember declaring out my mouth, I don't have cancer. I never fell into agreement with it. And by the grace of God, I didn't have it. But my mom, she did have a brain tumor at the same time. I saw how God healed her. She had her surgery. He made sure she was at the best doctors. My mother's still here. She's still breathing. She can see 20, almost 25. I'm like, 28 years later, I don't even know. I don't
Dang. Okay. All right. So she
know,
beat you.
23 years later, because I'm 35. That was no. So that was actually 20 years ago. Excuse me. Um, so I've seen like the healing power of God through my mom. So it was never a thing of me questioning God, are you real? I think what happened was I wasn't living for God from a young age. I was actually attacked by the enemy from sexually by the enemy from a young age, right? So I was living a life of perversion
Mhm.
um, up until like my 30s. Let's just say that. But as I was like 23 years old, one of the guys I was dating, he brought me to a church. I joined the church, got baptized, and then I went right back into sin, just wilding out.
Mhm.
And then I met a guy in real estate at around 27, and he was like, "You remind me of this girl." So it was this minister. Shout out to her, Tiffany Montgomery. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but she's like
Um,
a prophetess and a woman on fire for God. And she's the
yes.
prophet that called out Beyonce for being a witch.
Okay. So I like her already. Send me her Instagram.
Right. So, but, before she even was calling out Beyonce for being a witch, I remember seeing her for the first time, and she was just speaking to my soul. She was just talking about like the woman at the well, how she had 5 husbands and all this stuff. And I was like, well, I probably have more than 5 husbands, but but she told me she started teaching on the dangers of having sex before marriage. And I felt like the churches I was going to was too afraid to teach about that. And had they spoken taught to that subject, I probably would have been a virgin my whole life. So she was teaching us that, every person you lay down with, technically in the spirit, that's your husband.
Soul ties. Yep.
Yet soul ties. And even in the Bible, they talk a lot about when they laid down together. That's literally when they consummated the marriage. That's looked
Mhm.
at as you being married to the person now. And I just got grossed out, like ill. Yeah,
Yeah. It's powerful, right? Yeah.
I was like ill, and I just stopped having sex after that, literally. Now that fiance that I was gonna marry, I did have sex with him. I'm not gonna sit here and lie because I did, but with for the most part, I got the revelation at that point. And then even in our before we got engaged, me and him stopped having sex, and then he proposed to me, and I guess he thought we were gonna get married fast so we can have sex again, and we actually um, that engagement was for like 18 months, and during the 18 months, we did not do anything, and yeah, God was like, it's enough for me.
That man has a very strong willpower.
God bless him, wherever he is right now. He might be listening to this. Um, and now I'm actually, I'm actually now, still waiting for a new husband to arise, and I am still living for God in the best of my ability.
I
Yeah,
love that when somebody really is in love with God, and you're just even if you're just trying to live that life, you see the
yeah,
look on the person's face, like, like more energy, more clarity, like more vibrancy, and I see that in you. So that's so dope, man. I'm so proud of you for that. And like, look at me, man. I'm a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been to hell and
yeah.
back. Yeah, I've done everything in
Woman
my
at the
life.
well. I was definitely the woman at the well. Okay.
I did everything in my life that I wish I never did, and it took me a long time to repair my life and to get to where I am now. Lots of prayer, lots of fasting, lots of meditation, lots of reading the Bible, and yeah. Now I came full circle, and I love where I am today. By no means am I anywhere near perfect. I say, like, I go to church because I know I need it, and the people that don't go, then they just, maybe they're good with God, but I am not. So I gotta go. I gotta go fill up my cup every week, and I feel really good about it. I'm not a holy roller. I drop some F bombs when I need to, and I'm not proud of it, but I try and I try and I try, and I really do. I would rather, if somebody tells me they're a Christian, I would rather do the deal with them, even if I make a little bit less money, because I'd rather trust them than somebody who just kind of just doesn't even, it's not even on their radar. So, like,
Let me tell you, some of these Christians you can't trust either. So
oh, I know, and it comes from every side, right?
right, discernment is key, and really with me, I got to the point where um once I started reading the word for myself, and I realized that the word said, if you love me, you will obey my commandments. One day I was just like, oh, I guess I wasn't loving God. Even now I struggle with loving God. So I'm not gonna act like I'm perfect.
All of us do, all of us, because as soon as you try, and as soon as you aim your trajectory there, and you say, this is what I'm going to do now, the devil's going to come for you. He can try to knock you off that path. Yeah,
Yeah,
and if you were not trying to walk the path, you'd be fine. Nobody's gonna bother you at all. But as soon as you try to, like, hey, I'm just gonna just live a clean life. I'm gonna do good. I'm gonna just do everything right. The devil's coming for you, no matter what. So you gotta
yeah,
you gotta pray. Yeah, like you said, you gotta have pray for the spirit of discernment. Watch out for the people that are around you, and the five people you're around the most. And that's all we could do, right? And we're gonna stumble. We're gonna fall a million more times before our death. But that's part of who we are. I used to carry a lot of guilt. You know what I mean? Like I said, because everything I've done in my past, all the crazy stuff. And I used to just feel guilty, like, man, like, I wish I never did and all this stuff. But I'm thinking, like, you know what? God made me exactly how I am. And
yeah,
if I stumble sometimes, and sometimes I'm a little retarded, and I don't have the word I'm about to say, like, I do stupid shit. It's like, hey, God made me like this, so He probably loves me like this. He didn't make somebody that He would actually hate, and that brings me a lot of comfort. Like, I'm doing the best that I can. Honestly, I really am. And like I said, I don't think God would make somebody that He's going to despise. So when you trip up, like, it's just part of your programming. Like, it's fine. You get right back up and you keep going.
right. And then for someone that's listening to this, condemnation is not of God. That's the enemy. That's the
Mhm.
devil
Yeah.
trying to, take you away from God because we think, oh, I'm not perfect. I can't seek God. No, that's when you need to come to God and when you're not perfect.
Mhm.
When you're
That's,
dirty.
that's the best perfect. That's the best time, the lady at the well, right?
Right. When you raggedy and acting up, that's the perfect time to seek God even more.
Mhm.
So don't, if you we all figuring it out. I'm far from perfect. I have to repent every day.
Twice a day.
Last night I was cutting up, not being nice to somebody or whatever the case may be. And I was like, God, teach me how to love people like you love Doug.
Somebody said that. They said that when if you treat everybody you meet as if you're speaking to God, and the way you would treat God, like, man, that was like one of the best sayings I had ever heard before. And I
Hmm.
think Daniel and myself, and even my family, my kids, like, we're pretty good at that, honestly. Like, when we're somewhere, we try to over tip, be extra polite, help anybody that's in a jam. Like, we just literally, like, help strangers, like, literally. And that makes me feel really, really, really good. But if you think about that, yeah, even if somebody is a mess, right? Uh, you you can still view them as, like, God made that person. They're a good person. And I think, honestly, I think that everybody is doing the very best possible job that they can,
Right.
whether we think so or not. Like you said, like, condemnation, right? Like, hey, I don't like the way that person is. I don't like the stuff that they do, and they're not living right. Like, I bet you they're trying as hard as they possibly can. And if they could do better, they would. So it's not up to us to put a label on them and say they're not a good person. They're not doing the right thing. Like, I'm sure they're giving it everything they have too. And it's not up to us to get give them a pass or not. So that's not our business. You just be a good shining example, try as hard as you can, and then the right people will show up in your life, and yeah, the quality of your life will improve, and so will theirs.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. So, what's the next topic? I feel like you're about to go.
I've never been a political person at all in my life. Like I said, I used to hate politics. My dad was watching TV, Fox News, and all this CNN and stuff. And I'm just like, Dad, I said, all those people remind me of like wrestling, when I was a kid. Like they seem like they're all on the same team. I don't think that those guys actually really hate each other. This looks very familiar. This is exactly like wrestling. So I never was around politics. I never cared about it, never thought about it. But just I think recently, like since I think Trump started coming around, like I said, I used to hate the United States. I thought we were murderers, bloodthirsty. We sell military expertise and equipment for a living. You know what I mean? Like we're just like making dirty money, right? And I've done enough of that in my lifetime. So I was never proud of us as a country, and I felt like. And this is what I've been telling my dad since I was a kid. I know nothing about politics. I was a young, dumb contractor kid. I was like, those guys both play for the same team. There is no left and right. Those are the same guys. I've seen this on wrestling before my whole life. I loved wrestling when I was a kid. So when Trump came around, I'm like, I think this guy is not part of the insider club because both sides hate him.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So that was like thing number one that I noticed that was kind of odd. Like, why did this guy come out and both sides despise him? That's interesting. And who cares, right or wrong? It's just a little note. Just put that in your little ticker box. Both sides hate this guy. Both sides are the devil. That's interesting. Then I've been knowing forever that public media, Fox News, CNN, all of them, they argue back and forth. They're the same side again, right? And little did I know that foreign entities own like 99% of our media, our public media. It's not even owned by the United States. I didn't know that either. So then when Trump comes around, every single news channel in the whole entire country, every radio station is telling us that this guy's the devil. And left and right telling us he's the devil. Like, I'm not really, really good at math, but I'm good at I got street cred, right? So I'm pretty good at deductive reasoning, right? I know how to stay alive in vicious environments. And I'm thinking like, this guy's an outsider and everybody hates him. He's probably the right guy. Right. So if you know a bunch of murderers and child traffickers and drug dealers and everything, and then I show up with my little police badge on, and everybody in the audience is like, we hate that guy. And then like, that tells you who your friends are. So that's kind of my stance right now. Like I said, maybe I haven't done enough homework, but I've been reading a lot and watching a lot of videos. But I kind of feel like, yeah, that he's the guy. So that's why I'm on Facebook, like just blasting out, especially after they tried to assassinate him. Like, why did they need this guy out of the picture so bad?
Yeah. So did you vote for him the first time?
Yes.
Okay.
And the second time. And the third time.
Okay. So I did not vote for. Okay. First of all, let's go back. Okay. I voted for Hillary.
You what?
I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
And then it was brought to my attention that she was really like low key a witch also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Look, here's one thing, just one quick identifier. Again, we talked about how beautiful somebody like yourself is, you believe in God, faith. And then like, if you look at some of these people, and I'm not saying nothing, right? I'm not going to win any beauty pageants myself, but you see that look on their face, like that scowl. I've never met a beautiful, honest person in my life that has that look on their face. Like, what the heck is up with that?
Yeah. So there's so much stuff we can't really talk about. But she's done so much dirt behind the scenes, and as you can
tell, she's done, it's if you dig hard enough, you'll find it.
Yeah, she's done a lot to the people in Haiti. She's done a lot here, and yeah, the Epstein list that they will not release. I mean, Trump is on that list too, by the way. But
and let's say he is, right. Like,
I do. They did
the whole entire country is trying to find dirt on him. Right. Why, they should just get him out of the way. He's on the list. Get him out of the way.
See, they're all on the list.
Yeah.
The Obamas, the Clintons, Trump.
Anybody in political power is dirty. Hollywood, dirty. They're all in it. They've been doing it for 100 years.
Yeah, the elite is all in this secret society. So they're all on it. And that's a whole nother story. But one thing, like you alluded to, Trump is not a puppet. That's what I love about him. He's not a politician. He's not a puppet. He comes from his own money. He's a king in his own right. So you can't tell him what to do.
He's
Now,
always been a fan favorite. He's been a fan favorite since I've ever even heard his name before.
now, did I like Trump? Absolutely. Well, I liked Trump as a businessman. I always respected him as a businessman. I didn't like the way he came at Obama.
He
Okay.
came out crazy on everybody.
I ain't like it. Because I
Yeah.
was like, how dare you? I didn't like how he was coming at Hillary, right? But the main thing was Obama. I ain't like that. Now, Trump does come with a spirit of hate. Not to say that he hates a particular race, but the people that support him, these not I'm not saying you, but some of these the Trump cult, we'll say, the ones that are really embedded in racism, they start to show they behind. Even now they be showing they behind. I just be like, whoa, relax, relax.
Have you ever met any of those people in person?
Yeah, they a little crazy, just a little
Have you
bit.
ever met them in person? A real
I used to
racist?
work. I used to work in Trumpville. I call it Trumpville, literally, Trump Nation. All you see is Trump stuff everywhere.
Where?
It was in so a part of New Jersey called Bud Lake, New Jersey. It
Butt
was like,
Lake?
yeah, it's called Bud Lake.
Bud Lake. Okay.
Yeah, it's like Hicktown, New Jersey. A bunch of Trumpers. They were a little nuts. Okay.
Have you seen anybody ever like in the Trump supporting army like be racist to you directly?
Oh no, they know better. Okay. I don't.
Okay. Because I keep hearing it, right? And you see it on social media and you get this one video of one dude somewhere, but I have never seen it. None of my friends are like that. Nobody I know talks like that. But, so it seems like this is a media painted picture. And I'm not saying they don't exist because I think there's left extremists and there's going to be right extremists. But I've never met.
They've been there before Trump. Now they have a leader. Trump.
Now they have a cult leader they could attest
right.
to.
They just excited somebody agrees with them. And to be honest, I don't really think Trump is racist. Okay. I just feel like he speaks his mind. I think he's just an old man that just seen a lot and he just speaks his mind. That's what I think. But his fan club, a lot of them are racist. I do believe that. So we have to be careful. However, the other evil side, because I'm not saying Trump is an angel. Okay. I'm not saying he is. The other evil side, they're going for everything against what God wants.
That's the sad part. It's like, well, then what do you do? Who do you vote for then? They're both bad.
Like whatever God wants is what I want. So you got to have a stance. I do feel like Trump is going to become radically saved because he done had 2 assassination attempts. My spiritual mentors and Christian people, unfortunately, I've heard there's going to be one more attempt. So y'all, we just have to keep him in prayer. But that last attempt, he gonna really realize that it's the hand of God that's saving him, and I do believe he's gonna become radically saved. Okay, so keep him in prayer, and also Biden. We have to keep Biden in prayer too because we need him to be alive all the way to the election, for sure. You know, so these are just some of the things that my spiritual advisors, and these are prophets of God. I don't want y'all to think I'm speaking to psychics, but these are prophets of God, people that hear God, just like I hear God. They hear God even better than me.
You all do if you keep the lines of communication open.
Right. We all can hear God if you know how to seek him correctly. And if, you get in your word. The word of God is God speaking. So if you read your Bible, you hear God pretty much. Okay. But pray and ask for interpretation. Don't just read it like it's a regular book. I just want to say that. But with that,
don't read it like if you're reading the one thing. It's not a business book. It is a business book, but it's not.
Right. You really do need to ask Holy Spirit to, point things out to you and allow you to understand it. But the Democratic Party is very demonic. I don't. First of all, what's that man's name? Waltz. What's the vice president nominee?
That Tim Waltz.
Yeah, him. What he stands for is disgusting. Arresting parents that will not support their kids' transgender surgery you could go to hell.
It's a child. Like you wouldn't give your 16-year-old kid marijuana or liquor.
No,
Why
we're
would
not
you,
even talking
why
about
would you
six
help them?
year olds. We're talking about babies,
Why would
6-year-olds.
you why would you go help them chop off body parts? It's a kid, it's a child. Like leave them alone for a little while and see what happens. Imagine every tomboy in the country when you were growing up and
Right.
they went and got something permanent done. Like this is a kid, leave them alone.
And yeah, so I don't agree with that. So they have a very demonic agenda. I'm, as y'all probably could tell, I'm pro-life.
Me too. I post about it. I just posted something today. Like, and
Um,
if somebody's sick, if somebody's about to die, I understand there's medical reason. But these people are doing like 45 of them and bragging about it and wearing it on a T-shirt. I had 45 abortions. Like, that's a mental disease. That's something
yeah,
that's a decaying country. You know, a decaying ideology. Like that's my dad would say they're the party of death.
yeah.
And
If you had 45 abortions, you're a murderer. If you had one abortion, technically you're a murderer. But 45, that's excessive.
serial
But
killer.
yeah, you're a serial killer. That's it. Mass murderer, a serial killer. And you got to pay for that atonement someday. And no, me being a woman who cares about women's rights, I'm not a feminist. I'm a woman of God, and I do believe that I need a man because some of the feminist agendas are very like,
Destroys the family. It destroys the nuclear family, and that's all they care about. Yeah.
I need a man. I don't know what y'all talking about, but now I do believe in equal rights and stuff. However, some of the agenda is very, again, demonic and it's going against the will of God for me.
It goes
Um,
against anything that's biblical, anything. It doesn't matter. Even if you even like right now, they're making it where if even if you mention the name of Jesus, they're going to come for you. You know what I mean? Like you
and
can't
that's
even
how,
say the name.
that's how they are across the world. In Israel, they're the same way.
Mhm,
So that's a whole nother story. But before people be like, what the heck is she talking about? Okay.
mhm.
What I will say is, we all have the right to exercise our vote. I encourage you all to pray and ask God who to vote for. I do believe Trump is going to change a little, like his demeanor. He's going to become more of a man of God. Um, Also, it doesn't matter who becomes president when it comes to this economy. I do believe the economy is going to take a shift, and it really doesn't matter who becomes president. When it comes to a potential war, um, we're more likely to go to war with the Democrats than Trump. Trump is hot headed, but that's what allowed us not to become um, casualties at war, right? Like
Mhm.
Putin knew not to play around with Trump, and they were kind of like friends, right? So Putin is looking forward to Kamala becoming president so he
Mhm.
can mollywop her like he did Biden in
Did
Ukraine.
whatever the hell he wanted.
Right,
Murdered millions and millions of people now, unchecked, undeterred, and he's not going to stop. He has no plans on quitting. Yeah.
right. So it's a lot. Immigration, that's a whole nother. And I did not appreciate Trump talking about the Haitians. Now, the reason why I'm going to say that is because not so we don't know what the people. No, actually, I'm glad it's you. It's you. Remember, we had a whole conversation behind the
Yeah.
scenes about the
Yeah.
lady seeing the neighbor's cat, and that lady came out and said she lied
About what?
about the neighbor's cat going missing. The lady
Oh, I
literally,
didn't know. I didn't
yeah.
hear about nothing. Yeah.
However, I told you my thoughts on it, and I don't think they were eating cats. I think something else was happening, right? And we ain't gonna
Mhm.
get into that before I get what's happening. If it was happening, right? But Trump could have said he should have been speaking about the Venezuelans, and I don't know who's Venezuelan on here, but that's more important than some cat and dog getting eaten. The Venezuelans was actually killing people and breaking into their homes, kicking them out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's more important.
Yeah.
They're saying they're in New York. They know not to do that here because we got a lot of gangs as it is. But we're talking about dangerous gang leaders going into suburb white America, yoking people out their house. And Trump didn't mention that. I had a problem with that. Talk about that. That's actually more alarming than a cat and a dog. I don't care about a cat and a dog. Eat all the cats and dogs if you need to.
You know, something that frustrates me about him, like I listened to that podcast with Elon Musk and I loved it. I think it's the best podcast I've ever listened to. I love them both. But he's not good at like dialing in like on little key points. Like you could have just made an excellent point there. But I have dealt with a lot of like billionaires, I guess, like people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're very, very like their mindset is like kind of direct. Like it's hard to steer them away from what they were already thinking.
Yeah.
So I see that in him, and I wish he would stop and like back off and make other key points. Like Elon was talking about making a government efficiency board, where like we're gonna go in, we're gonna freaking do a audit of the whole entire government, everybody, and find out where to save money. And that's the first thing Trump did when he came in. So when Elon brought it up on the podcast, I'm like, oh, perfect. I hope he talks about this. And he just kind of like, yeah, that's a good idea, and went around it. I'm like, shit. He could have made a bunch of good points there. So
he's an old geezer. That's why he's old. He's that old man on the porch just talking. Like
so is he the sharpest, most well put together presenter ever in the world? No. But he, like you said, he is tough enough so that where if there's another country like China, Russia, or Iran, or all the other people that want to kill the whole United States, if they want to start a problem over here, he's not gonna let it happen. Right. And like you said, people know that. So that's what makes me feel like you can't have this dude dancing around to Beyonce's song and like a freaking bra and leather pants and Montel Williams side chick like running the country. They're gonna get walked all over. These people are murderers. You know what I mean? Like they're not politically correct. They are murderers for a living. Like they'll go and kill millions and millions of people, and to them it's like a jobs report. Like, oh, we made 300 jobs. You're like, okay, we killed 7 million people today. Tomorrow I'm gonna kill a couple more. Awesome. It's like on a spreadsheet, and he's not gonna stand for that. Right?
Yeah, I do believe Kamala, she's more than what's the name? Montel Williams. Like, she did earn like she worked hard to be where she is, right? However, she's also a puppet. There's a lot of things I didn't like from her professional past. And some things are coming out and coming to light. I think you've been posting stuff. I've been watching it. And the situation with the lady with the truancy law, which
I'm telling you,
it was crazy. Yeah. So certain things I just don't like about her, and I feel like she hasn't really did anything the last couple of years. Or if she has, they didn't market it. But I'm happy that she's in the position to run for president. If she was standing for more biblical stuff, maybe I would be super excited to vote for her. I just feel like it's just another puppet master coming in with their liberal, crazy ideas and this whole transgender thing. Shout out to the transgenders. Nothing against y'all, but y'all need to stay off of the kids. Okay.
I have some of my best friends are gay. I love them to death. Like I go to dinner with. I went to Chicago and I went.
Yeah, my male best friend said this is a gay agenda. He knows it's out of control. He knows.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I have plenty of friends that I could point at and say, "Hey, this is my best friend in the world. If somebody messes with them, I'll kill them." You know what I mean? Like it ain't gonna happen. But leave the kids alone. They're too little. Like why do you? I mean, they don't even know about that stuff. So why even put it in their mind? The same way you wouldn't give them alcohol or weed or anything else. And I'm a big marijuana advocate. I think that medicine that's inside that plant will help kind of disrupt what big pharma's doing, right? Like we could put a dent in some of that agenda and that dirty money. Mm-hmm. But I still wouldn't offer it to a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old. You know what I mean? Like what the hell? In what world is that okay to modify the body and the thinking of a child like that? It's weird.
Yeah, it's nuts. But those are just my viewpoints. I don't know who I'm voting for, to be honest. I don't want to say I don't want to vote, but I don't even care at this point. I'm sorry.
Everybody should be open-minded, like I said. Yeah. And for myself, I felt like I'm not wealthy, right? But if I needed to produce $1 million in a couple of weeks, like I could put my hands on it, no problem. You know what I mean? It's not in my account, but I can put my hands on it pretty quick, right? Based on like all the assets we have and everything we're doing. Mm-hmm. So no matter who gets voted in, I'm gonna be okay. But to see my friends and my family that I went to high school with, and they're like barely making it for groceries and stuff like that, like eggs went to like $10. Like I'm not a scientist, but something's terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. And man, another 4 years of this is going to be tough for a lot of people, and it's not going to affect me or you as bad. But It's
You never
pretty sad.
know.
Yeah.
And I feel like it doesn't matter who's gonna come in. It's gonna hit everybody the same. Unless you know what to do, right? We know how to maneuver, but the others don't. But I do encourage everyone listening to start buying farmland. We all need it. I've said this on other podcasts. We have the Bill Gates, the Asians, everybody but us owning the majority of this farmland. Ultimately, they're controlling our food. We know the food is becoming contaminated every day, right?
Mhm.
Um, so we want to get control over the situation. Start eating a cleaner lifestyle too. So start eating more raw fruits and vegetables, because the prophets are saying that we might have a famine in the future. And this is why they're encouraging everyone to buy farmland, because you might have to farm and grow your own food. Okay. So, you, especially you, because you found all the land in Texas, start keeping some of it. Start learning how to farm, learning also how to preserve your fruits and vegetables. There's a conference coming up. The man I went to Israel with, he does this government summit. He's actually like a person that works with the White House. It doesn't even matter who the president is. He works with them to give them spiritual advice. But last year he had this big government conference, and he was teaching people how to preserve the food, how to can your own fruits, how to farm. Because he's like, these are the things you're gonna need to know how to do over the next 5 years or less.
Mhm.
So that's it. That's what I got.
I heard a guy today on he was giving some kind of testimony in front of Congress or something, and he was like, I guess a former like a FBI or something, and he
Mm-hmm.
was saying like you need to buy ammunition and you better start like buying food that doesn't expire. That's all he said. I'm like, oh shit, yeah. So yeah, I believe it right now, and I'm glad you brought that up. But that's like kind of my passion project for Hive Mind
Yeah.
is I clearly see what's happening. Foreign entities are buying our, I say stealing, but they're buying our land right from under us.
Mm-hmm.
And while over here popping bottles at the club and flipping mobile homes, like nothing wrong with that. Make money how you got to make money, but don't forget to buy the dirt before somebody else does.
Yeah.
And that's very alarming to me. And then if you want to really have your mind blown, find the podcast with me and Daniel called The Water Wars. And that's what it's really about.
Mm.
That's big time right there. What if you have all the farmland and there's no water to water those fields? They're
That's
stealing.
crazy.
They're stealing the water right from underneath us, and we're all watching it happen,
Well,
all
you said they killed
docile.
that black man. Well, they killed the black man. No, let me not start with conspiracy theory stuff. So wasn't
Hey,
there a black man that was taking the water, and I forgot what he was doing. I have to look it up. I think he was taking the rainwater, and it was being sterilized or something, and it was used for like renewable water. I don't know, but I think either they killed him or they was damaging his equipment because he was onto something basically.
you got to send me that video. That's going to be on episode 2, conspiracy theories with Diontay Chantel.
But no, maybe he ain't die. I hope he didn't. I hope he alive. But yeah,
There's a.
that is true. That's scary. The water. Like what will we do? There's no water.
I'm telling you right now, we need to stop thinking about ROI and profit and spreadsheets, and we need to start thinking that one day you might own farmland and no way to water it.
Wow.
So we got bigger problems happening. So that's why, like with Hive Mind, like I'm not trying to make money. Like I'm sounding the alarm, bro. Like it's going down. This is the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? And this is sudden death. And if people are still going to be asleep and just pretending they're being real estate investors, like I'm like, holy shit. Okay, well then I can't help those people. I can't save them, but I'm still going to be shouting it to the mountaintops until there's no more water under the ground. Like we need to move. We need to pick up this land. We need to pick up all the water rights that you can possibly pick up, and we need to do it quickly. We need to help. We need to tell our friends and family. We need to get out there. We need to pray. We need to pray, and we need to make this happen because sooner or later, this is not going to be a business model anymore, and pretty sooner, this is not going to be a country anymore. So I don't know if it's one generation away or 2 generations away, but we don't have 100 years left to keep
Yeah,
on playing.
I don't think we got 100 years.
Yeah. So we need to move. We need to make sure that we protect this land from the people that would love to destroy it. And who's that? Everybody that's outside of these border walls.
But it's like,
Every country on the planet hates us.
I'm considering buying in Africa.
Yeah.
I'm Jamaican descent. but I'm considering buying in Jamaica, buying in Ghana, because I do feel like America is going to be a third world country soon. Um,
Very possible.
yeah. So
Very.
yeah, I think in the next 10 years, actually.
I don't know what the timelines are. Like I said, I'm just an employee here. I have at our Hive Mind event this last year. The back of my shirt said janitor. Like I just work here. You know what I mean? And yeah, we got some work to do. We definitely have some work to do. We need to move quickly. And like you said, we need to pray. And but yeah, I mean, we're looking at Costa Rica. We're looking at investing in other markets. Not now, like as a business model. People are gonna start sending me land leads from Panama tomorrow. I'm like, nah. But yeah, we are looking at other places in case this thing went down. What else? Where else is it safe? But I think America is freedom's last stand, and I'm going to fight to the death for it. And if it ever falls, then we're thinking about exits too.
Good. Okay.
Well, this is one of my favorite conversations we've ever had. I've never gone this deep on religion and politics in a podcast before in 600 episodes.
Oh, wow.
So I'm glad it was with you, and I'm glad now after speaking to you, because we've never had this in depth of a conversation before. I love you even more now. I think you're an amazing person inside and out. I'm glad of how far you've come and how you broke through adversity. Beautiful story. It couldn't have happened to a better person. So I'm glad that you were here with us, and I hope to do it again.
Thank you, everyone. If you want to stay connected to me, you can find me on Instagram, Diontay Chantel. You can also find me on YouTube. I have a podcast called Journey to Develop Her. We talk about my development journey as well as other investors and developers throughout this country. We got to have Anthony and Daniel on there as well. And we also have an exclusive real estate development community called Zero to Developer. I teach you everything from wholesaling, cash flowing, real estate development. We also
Where's
have.
this group?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Where's this group?
Oh, it's my private community. We're on Facebook. We have a WhatsApp community. It's called Zero to Developer, and we meet 40 times per year. So we have 40 classes. We're starting to do deals together as well. It's great. It's incredible. So if you have any questions about that, if you reach out to me or you go on my Instagram page, the link is in the bio, or you can just go to journeytodevelopher.com, go to my store, and you'll see the options to join the mentorship group.
Beautiful. And what's your Instagram?
Diontay Chantel, DIONTECHANTEL. My whole name.
Oh, I love this. Okay. And what kind of deals do you want people to bring you, or what kind of opportunities do you want people to bring you?
Wow, that's a great question. Anything in any major emerging city, right? So I love Texas actually. So anything in the outskirts of Houston, Dallas, San Antonio is okay. Of course, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, like throughout the United States, Kansas City. We're definitely open to Kansas City, Missouri, and even Kansas City, Kansas. If you have stuff out of the country, like Ghana, Jamaica, Trinidad, like the Caribbean, I'm open to it as well.
Dang, all right.
Yeah, so anything that's a deal, anything that I could actually build affordable and workforce housing for is going to be great, as well as market rate. If you have projects that you need a partner on, or if you need a development consultant for, feel free to reach out to me as well.
Help me raise some capital for my development in San Antonio.
I'm about to say, I need your help. We gonna help each other.
I know we still gotta do a deal together. What the heck?
Yeah, so we're gonna Anthony said it on this podcast. We're gonna do a deal together, and if you need help, anyone out there that needs help with writing proposals to win land or buildings, I work with that in that capacity as well, and also helping people find grants. So
help me find a grant on a deal, and I'll raise the capital to get it done. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I got my political partners ready to go. They pretty much know everyone in every municipality in the country, so we can get it done.
Deontay for mayor. Let's do it.
Deontay for president. I'm telling you.
That's the next stage. That's stage 3.
Yeah, that's it. That's later on. I would run for Congress. Actually, I would do Congress.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Dang, okay. I kind of feel like it. Like, I don't want to be a politician. I just want to just
No,
move dirt.
I'm not gonna be a puppet. I'm gonna do what I want to do. So
That's what I'm saying. I'm unbendable. Like, you can't convince me to do nothing that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I already been there, done that. Like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I want to make things right. So I think I would destroy it in politics. And I don't want to get involved, but if they keep forcing my hand, they're gonna make me. And they don't want that. They don't want that smoke.
exactly. So, you know, I would just represent whatever God wants. That's what I would do. And people probably would not like me. So it is what it is.
I'm gonna be I'll be your vice president.
Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right, man. Well, God bless you. I'm so glad we had this chance finally to talk and get you on here. But yeah, it's amazing. I feel like we should do this again because I feel like we could have easily put another hour into this thing for sure.
I know we didn't even barely talk about real estate, but no, this was great. I feel like this is a time-sensitive podcast as we're going into the election. We're going into a new year. So people needed to hear this.
Very important, man. I'm glad that you had the courage, because I told you what we could have talked about, and I'm glad we did. And we need to start having these conversations. I think we need to stop saying that it's not okay to talk about religion and politics in public when it's like being slammed in your face by the public media. Like, no, we need to have more conversations like this to like just kind of highlight things and bring things out to light. So yeah, very, very, one of my favorite episodes I've ever done before. So we appreciate you, and we shall see you soon.
All right. God bless. Keep God first. Love you all. Bye.
Amen. God bless you. See you soon.
Hey, if you have any deals you'd like to submit to the Hive Mind and our team, go to hivebc.io. It's actually the Hive Buyers Club. Submit your deals and we can hopefully dispel your deal for you. Have a great day.